Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us to mark April 28th, the National Day of Mourning, when we pause to remember workers who were killed or injured at work or became ill as to exposures to hazardous substances. My name is Vinay Sharma. I'm the Director of National Health and Safety Department. I'm joined by my colleagues from the department, Ken Bondi, Joanne Hay, and Emma Messick. Before we begin, we would like to acknowledge the traditional, ancestral, indigenous territory and territories on which we are learning, working, and organizing today. Even if we are in different physical locations, we must still recognize the land we are on. Today, I'm on the land of Mississaugas of New Credit. And I'm now delighted to have our National President join us today. Lana?
Great, thank you, Vinay, and hello everyone, and thank you as well for taking time today to reflect on workplace health and safety and to recommit to fighting for safe work for all. I want to start by expressing our heartfelt condolences to the families, coworkers, and communities of the 9 Unifor members in the past year who went to work and did not come home. Despite the strong work happening in unionized workplaces all across our country, the number of workers in Canada killed on the job each year has not declined. More than 1,000 workers across our country are killed each year at work. That's 3 workers each and every day. For hundreds of years, unions have been the people to highlight risks, to organize, and to demand better protections for workers. And we still do, each and every day. And we all know the best protection a worker can have is a strong and militant union. Unifor locals continue to challenge hazardous working conditions through their joint health and safety committees and also through collective bargaining, the most powerful tool we have as a union. And I want to thank them for their constant vigilance. Their efforts have resulted in significant improvements in individual workplaces and in changing the laws we need to protect working people. But too many workers are still at risk, and too many employers are still not held accountable for their actions, for their negligence, and for prioritizing profit over people's lives. This must change. It is our responsibility to fight every day towards that change. Health and safety laws must be strengthened. We saw how important this was throughout the pandemic. Inspections and enforcement are also critical to advancing health and safety in our workplaces. I encourage all Unifor members to connect with your workplace health and safety committee to learn about the risks in your own workplaces and what you can do to protect yourself and others. I encourage all Unifor members who sit on bargaining committees to constantly evaluate the strength of the health and safety language in your collective agreements and reflect on what you can do through bargaining to make that language stronger. I encourage all health and safety activists in our union to reach out and connect with other activists in different parts of Unifor, including on our equity committees, so that we can all work together to protect ourselves and our coworkers. Thank you, everyone. Keep fighting, keep organizing, keep demanding better and safer workplaces for all. Solidarity. And now over to Ken.
Thanks, Lana. The National Day of Mourning is our time, all of us as workers, to reflect on the workers in the past year that have been killed at work, severely injured at work, or have suffered from an occupational disease. We must find ways to ensure that that carnage in the workplace stops, that no worker should ever fear of never coming back home again or fear that they cannot live a healthy, full life. Health and safety are the fundamental rights of all workers, and we at the National Health and Safety Department, we work directly with our local unions to address these issues and to challenge the employer on advocating for better working conditions. And we also take the opportunity to lobby for better legislation in the 10 provinces and 3 territories across Canada so that workers can work safe. I want to encourage everybody to look at your collective agreement language, because legislative change can happen at the stroke of a pen. So our collective bargaining rights are as important as the legislative ones. I encourage all Unifor members to visit unifor.org/health and safety to connect with our department if you have any concerns or any comments. And if your local has any particular safety concerns, you can always direct that to our department or call our 1-800 number, and we will respond as quickly as we can. I want to leave that with you and ask Vinay to come back and say a couple of more words.
Thanks, Ken. For nearly 4 decades, we have gathered on this day of mourning, to direct attention of our governments and employers to a common agenda focused on preventive measures that will reduce the suffering. Unfortunately, the suffering continues. Since the beginning of Unifor in 2013, 74 of our members have died on the job. If we take into account the number of deaths from occupational diseases, not usually part of workers' compensation stats, the death toll then rises even more drastically. April 28th is a day for us to reflect on the workplace tragedies that have occurred and why they happened. We must remember that workplace fatalities are preventable, and we must rededicate ourselves to work to ensure they do not happen again. Mourn the dead, fight for the living. The slogan for the day of mourning reflects the need to remember those who have lost their lives, but also contain a strong reminder of the need to press for improvements in health and safety. Ensuring workers are protected from the workplace hazards that lead to preventable, needless death, serious injury, or illness. The lives of the families of those killed and injured in these and other workplace tragedies change immeasurably. They often feel let down by a justice system that takes far too long to establish exactly how their loved ones died, or in the case of those injured or ill, to address the circumstances that led to them suffering life-changing injuries or illnesses. Occupational health and safety laws across Canada require employers to take every precaution reasonable to safeguard workers. When this duty of care is not met, employers can be subject to and must be subject to compliance orders and prosecution. Unifor demands that all Canadian regulators enforce existing laws vigorously and effectively, including the Criminal Code amendments, which allow for attributing criminal liability to organizations, including corporations, their representatives, and those who direct work of others. Far too often, employers are getting away with murder. I want to thank every person who stands up for the health and safety of their fellow workers. It's not an easy job, but when we have a strong voice from true leaders, the workplace culture can shift to become one where we don't forget about prevention. We don't allow managers to cut corners, and we refuse to perform unsafe work. Now I'll invite Joanne Hay to read the names of the Unifor members lost this year and ask that all who are able, stand for a moment of reflection. Thanks.
Hello, everyone. In remembrance of the 9 Unifor members who lost their lives in workplace accidents since our last day of mourning, may we reflect. Yen Ni, Camille Poulet, Adam Love, Michael Day, Brad Poupar, Terry Roberts, Jean-Xavier Pleur, Michael Gravel, and Paul Totten. May they never be forgotten, and may their deaths lead us forward in our fight for the safety of all workers. Let us remember now with a moment of silence.
The time it goes so fast, the loss so slow to pass. The time it races by, but there was no time to say goodbye. Another year has come and passed, memories forever last, and yet the pain won't go away. These wounds are here to stay, and yet the pain won't go away. These wounds are here to stay. The time it goes so fast, the loss so slow to pass. The time it races by, but there was no time to say goodbye. Battles won and battles lost, many paid the bloody cost. Can we forget the price they paid, or will we let their memories fade? Can we forget the price they paid, or will we let their memories fade? The time it goes so fast, the loss so slow to pass. The time it races by, but there was no time to say goodbye. Can't give up the ground we've won, safety battles never done. So many died in this past year, sisters and brothers that we held so dear. So many died in this past year, sisters and brothers that we held so dear. The time it goes so fast, the loss so slow to pass. The time it races by, but there was no time to say goodbye. time it goes so fast, the loss so slow to pass. The time it races by, but there was no time to say